Sergeant America coming at you, boom! So people have recently talked about some books of old, some books of their youth, nostalgia books. Dr. Monkeybot, DC DaCosta, that was a great video. Definitely got me thinking about books when I was younger. Started with my local library. I was very lucky to have comic books there. I could look at, the top two or three of each one, the Batman, Superman, Spider-Man's, Captain America's. It was great. As I started to purchase and collect for myself, it was a little bit more of the X-Men that you guys were talking about, the Punishers and that. Then some of the weird stuff on DC. And then as I got older, even still, and started, hanging out with some friends, they introduced me to the advanced worlds of Dungeons and Dragons. Well, money went to that. I had to buy the boxes, had to buy the books, had to buy the dice, buy the figures, gas to get to everybody's house so that we could all gather together and have, drink Mountain Dew and eat pizza late and tell crazy stories and all the wonderful things that transitioning from a nerd to a geek to a whatever. That's what I had become. I had become the D&D boy. And so it was something that I really enjoyed. As I moved and the guys weren't around to have games with anymore, started looking and found comic books. So then I decided, well, I gotta collect those. And here nor there, once again, as moving goes, as transition of youth, books come, books go. Luckily, I was able to hunt down a lot more, so definitely wanted to show you guys my collection of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons series. So DC Comics and TSR was the company that made the D&D. This company is no longer around. I think it became Wizards of the West Coast. I'm no longer playing, so that I don't quite know anymore. I believe they're still going, kicking pretty good. New box, new rules, all that good stuff. As we see here, we have our elf, our dwarf, our male and female protagonists, and this wonderful centaur. It was a very interesting decision to make this cast here, the ones that they have. So, I definitely evidently have been a DC boy from a long time ago. How long? December of '88 was this issue of number one. Number two, we see our centaur here and the dwarf, that good old duo that they always seem to have together. Did I pay sticker price? Did I pay whatever? I'll tell you the truth, I can't even recall myself. I feel every dollar was worth it. We start exploring our elven mage and her life in here. Artwork for this cover, I don't feel was stunning, but start getting into some of the more magic of it. We start seeing our bad guys here, the wonderful pop of color that is definitely the 80s. I believe this is April of '89. New format. I'm not entirely sure what makes a new format. I definitely have to dig back through these, I guess, to determine that. But wonderful colors, all that kind of stuff. Spirit of the Mirth, part 1 of 4. So issue 6 is 2 of 4, as we see our female pirate here dealing with unsavory characters. Number 7, which is part 3 of the storyline. I do like that they told you, that this is a story arc and that back before I really knew about this kind of stuff or had anyone to chat with about it. Things I didn't think of, so. And then part 4 of 4 with this sinister cover of issue 8. Definitely, I like that dwarf and how sinister and mean it looked. Hanging out with my friends, I was the dungeon master, told all the stories, so I definitely liked to read this stuff to get more information, refill the old brain, come up with new ideas. Beginning of a new arc, so this was the Timoth's Travels. Boy, that is a tough one to read in that. Still new format. Not entirely sure if it's new. If you keep saying that, it must be New 52. But the idea back in '89, issue 9. Oh, here we go. The almost Gulliver Travels, all these little creatures, and this guy up in the front with his little forced perspective. It's definitely fun to see our centaur, tied down against many a foe. Our dwarf fighting a wonderful gator in this issue 11. They seemed like just a perfect pair. You would often see, the dwarf and the near elven centaur in their interactions. Definitely that feel of Legolas and Thorin? Slipping on my names right now. I do like the Eye of the Beholder behind them. Definitely was always the toughest creature to face. Then we get into, because that was 12. 13, we get into this storyline. Now I'm really starting to like the covers back again. It's, we got somebody who's been drugged with the, shot in the knee. It looks like our female pirate, blade in hand, ready to defend herself. 14, we have our Cyclops. Not even sure who this other gentleman is with them. This is definitely, Spell Games continues. At the time, also a price of $1.50 for these comics. See, that first one was $1.25, so already seeing a raise in price here. Once again, I often like the pop of colors that we often got in these books. Definitely didn't know too much about what I liked, what I didn't like. I just, needed this information, the storyline. This all seems to be about our female pirate here. Last time I probably read this series all the way through would have been as I started putting the stuff in boxes 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it probably is time for me to dig through, reread all this. Obviously, I'm definitely rusty on this. Like I said, each cover, I don't know if they just tried to outdo themselves and how much they would do for color. Each one seems to really explode. So it was 17. Here's 18. Our adventurous band, continues on. At this point, I think they had lost their paladin, the male of the group. Let's see, it was 18. So evidently, I'm missing 9. Oh, let's see. Slightly out of order. 19. Once again gets into the sultriness colors of this. Our dancing mage in front of the mirror of the moon. Or just, that Harlequin romance novel, two people riding on the horse on the beach, issue 20. Phases the Moon, things that I used to love there. Those action shot covers, I think a lot of these were actual story in the book. It's a little tough to tell, but when I put all of these next to all my new boards and bags, you could tell there's definitely a color difference in the bag and definitely the board. I don't know that I would ever go back and redo these. Number 22. Finally, we're getting into our dragons. I don't know that there's been much for dragons before this. Yes. When it comes to danger, lawyers are the ones you have to watch out for. Definitely, continue enjoying the series as I got into it. And then we went from 23 to this, more conservative cover compared to some of the popping of color that I've seen in the other ones. Like I said, when you work with magic, you can do just about anything you want. Sometimes pulling back is definitely the thing to do too. So we seem to go right back in with number 25 on this wonderful action cover. I definitely liked that a lot. That a lot of these were action orientated. Every once in a while, they just kind of broke up a little bit. My screen started dropping. You know how that goes. Um, 26. I mean, even this one, you know, you get a little bit of. It's probably in the day may have been a variant cover, but you know, it's definitely this wonderful style that I like. You know, with a little bit of action, a little bit of style in the back. 28. Our mage is now in the cemetery. At this point, I think they were going strong with that character. I think she had kind of multiple personalities. So 27, you see this wonderful number. That was 27. So I missed a 28. I do have 29. So we get back into these action shots. Looks like most of the original group now is gone. It appears to be this mage and the wonderful, you know, hunky guy that rides the horse everywhere. But we get at least our dragons again. So, and then in 31 we get our dwarf back. It almost seems to be a dwarven buddy picture movie that we're getting out of this, as that feeds into 32. The wonderful clacker, whatever our subterranean creature is that's got hold of them. But now we seem to also be back to our entire group, and with our group, we start to get that, you know, touch of color once again that I mentioned. Start investing back into, you know, I guess, you know, somewhat subdued maybe still. We get back into some of the pirate stories. It appears. This is 34 and 35. It's almost seems to me, I guess maybe running out of a tunnel. I almost thought underwater there for a moment. But and number 36, Rights and Wrongs, the finale. Too often I never felt like I knew that we were getting a definite end of something. So to see this is kind of very nice. You know, it's the reassemblance of our group here, minus our paladin, it appears. Once again, just that dance of color that I seem to so enjoy. So just let me put that here to the side. The finale came out in 91. So, you know, mere years before I got ready to graduate. So it does look like I'm missing just you know, one or two. So I'll definitely have to go back through and do a little more hunting. I do, though, have that I display downstairs the annual #1. That came out in 1990. I got that in this floating case. Try to get that there. This pretty much because of the artwork on it, you know, trying to get rid of some of that glare. Because of the style, I mean, this is one of the few comics I do display where everybody can see. You know, I guess it kind of explains what kind of nerd I am. It's what I liked. I did a video on the very top of my shelf. I've painted figurines. That's something else I really enjoy doing. You know, this gives you an idea of the size, so that I have to prime him and pull out the smallest of brushes, paint him, get all the little details and whatnot. So definitely used to be something I really enjoyed. My eyesight continues to deteriorate just a little bit, so that I've had a little issue with being able to stare that long at small objects like that. Digits seem to not have the strength that they used to, but besides my Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, I also had War of the Gods. This is TSR, as they were kind of going through a change up on their idea, almost a reboot for them. So we have a couple of heroes that the gods have fallen, and now they're trying to save. This was also square backed. Trying to see if you can see that in the bag. So it was several pages, you know, for the price of $5.95. almost kind of a mini trade, I guess, or however we want to say it. A couple issues together. So it's issues 1, 2, and some of that wrinkling is the paper. Some, if I were to take it out, you'd see it's a wrinkling of the cover of the actual book itself. Humidity has not been kind to these in the Midwest. We have plenty of humidity. And 3. So that's always been a constant battle with a lot of my stuff. I live quite a few places that didn't have air conditioning. Recently, though, we started getting back into some of the collecting of this stuff. Devil's Due Publishing had some of these wonderful Forgotten Realms. I try to read as many Forgotten Realms books as I could in my life. I liked with the Devil's Due Publishing, it tells you it's 48 pages at the wonderful price of $5.50. So you can start to see how our books are. So this is issue 1 of Streams of Silver. Issue 2, many of you may recognize Mr. Drizzt Do'Urden. He was a wonderful character for that series. And of course, issue 3, we always seem to do our trilogies with Forgotten Realms and all the wonderful fantasies. The Halfling's Gem, issue 1. See if I can't hold this a little better. Issue 1 of the Halfling's Gem with Mr. Drizzt Do'Urden. The Drow Warrior, issue 2. Definitely always liked pirate ships and that. And issue 3. So remember, that's 48 pages. 48 pages at that price. Also, I started getting into collections. Usually whenever I just found a whole bunch for sale. In the Shadow of Dragons, I have issue 5, issue 6, boom, issue 7, and issue 8. With the World of Dungeons and Dragons, I have issue 1 and issue 4. So that was my nostalgia. Like I said, definitely I'm thankful for the videos that you guys have been kicking out. Getting me wanting to reread all these old books. Like I said, it's been several years. It's time for me to open up especially a lot of these. I got nearly 36, 37 of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons ones. I'm used to reading all the trades over and over again. I just gotta start reading my individuals, my floppies. So definitely thankful for everybody who makes the videos. Thankful for everybody that talks about them and that enjoys. So, catchphrase.